Hello, everybody. My name is Ben Schroeder. Today, I'd like to go over sentence stress, intonation, and pauses, briefly touch on tempo. Um, Hope everyone had a great weekend and enjoyed this sunny weather. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, sentence stress. Starting out, so not only does stress relate to individual words, each sentence that is produced by a speaker has inherent sentence stress. Typically, at least one word in a sentence is stressed more so than others in order to help convey different meanings. The stress is often found within the final word of a sentence. Um, this isn't always the case, though. Um, and then briefly, I'd like to touch on content versus function words. So, content words are typically more stressed than function words as they contain more important information, nouns, adverbs, or adjectives, whereas function words are less important and have pronouns, articles such as a, an, or the, prepositions that give or that kind of cue into direction or location, and then conjunction. So all your fanboys. So for, and, but, nor, yet, all of those. Um, now, contrastive stress. So it indicates a speaker's intent behind an emphasis. So all of these sentences have different meanings due to which word is stressed, which I italicize. So I lifted weights at the gym kind of answers who. I lifted weights at the gym. I didn't throw them or do anything else with them. I lifted them. Um, I lifted weights at the gym. What'd you lift at the gym? Um, or I lifted weights at the gym. I didn't lift weights at home. I lifted at the gym. That probably could have been a better example, but you get the picture. Stress can also be based off of information. So um, uh, in conversation, new and old information is discussed. Um, because old information is already understood, new info is stressed. Um, kind of going through some examples of this. So, um, I'm forming a band. And then somebody would be like, "What's it called?" Yada yada yada. And then with who? Um, uh, Three of my friends from my fraternity. So, three of them. Um, what do you play? Well, we play a mix of indie, blues, rock and roll. So kind of stressing what I play. Um, um, so in conversation, sentence stress is a very subconscious aspect of pragmatics, which um, goes into how language is used based on social or contextual cues. Um, Transcribing sentence stress. So, in order to transcribe stress, there are three things that need to be done. So, without further ado, starting off one, within the sentence, um, you must identify the content word or words, and among these, identify those that are being stressed. Um, in word or words or a word that is receiving primary sentence stress, mark the syllable with a superscript mark before or to the left of the stressed syllable. Um, Also above, I meant to add, but that is a superscript mark. Um, and then in content word or words that aren't receiving stress, mark the syllable with primary stress um, with a subscript mark before the stress syllable. So um, uh, be this superscript mark, before weights right here. Now going over secondary sentence stress super quick. If you wanted to kind of indicate um, or emphasize plurality, I didn't lift a single weight, or so I didn't lift a weight. You say I lifted weights. What you would do is you would do a superscript mark above the S marker, and then a subscript mark before that W phoneme. Um, and then intonation. So um, it is Intonational changes are modifications in fundamental frequency that is made by the speaker during conversation. Intonation, like stress, provides important contextual information into the type of utterance that the speaker is using, which can be highlighted through the use of a statement, question, exclamation, etc. So you're going to have different meanings conveyed by saying I did versus I did or I did. So intonational phrases. So intonational changes are organized into intonational phrases. They can be rising or falling. So rising, you're going to have low to a high pitch, and vice versa for falling. So I can't wait for school to be done. Your favorite band is the Beatles, right? So you got a rising. The movie, which was the highest grossing film this year, was one of the best films I had ever seen. Now, pitch change, briefly going over tonic syllable or nuclear syllable, and then nuclear accent or tonic accent. So, tonic syllable is the syllable, the first syllable of the primary stressed word or words, and then the tonic or nuclear accent is the emphasis that is given to that syllable. It's most often at the end, but not always. So this is due to the fact that within contrastive stress, that emphasis can be placed anywhere. So rising intonational phrases want to continue. So he's on the track team, isn't he? Or I think I'm staying in for the night. I'm just really tired. All right? Can you? Is it time for The Simpsons to be on yet? I love that show. And then some falling intonational phrases. I wish. That's all she wrote. When did you leave? What's your favorite basketball team? And then tempo. So this is a durational aspect of speech. So how stress and the rate can both play into connected speech. So some rules of thumb: vowels before consonants tend to be longer than vowels before voiceless consonants. Diphthongs are longer than vowels, the latter of which are longer than consonants. Glides and liquids are typically longer than nasals. Affricates are fricatives. And finally, stops are usually the shortest in duration. Now, some rules for phoneme duration. So, for transcription, if the end of the word is the same phoneme as the beginning of the next word, merge the two. So you can see down here in this example, but Terry, this denotes that there isn't a pause in the transcription. So, vowels placed before voiceless consonants are typically longer than vowels before voiceless consonants. Likewise, vowels in open syllables are typically longer than those in closed syllables. Now, we've got another example down here. Now, pauses. So, pauses are, there are two types. There's external and internal junctures. Now, junctures indicate how syllables and words are linked together. Now, external junctures, they occur between intonational phrases when a comma, hyphen, period, semicolon, exclamation point, or question mark are used in conjunction with a short pause. In this case, you mark with a singular vertical line in between phrases. If instead there is a long pause, mark this pause with two vertical lines. So this one right here, be a longer pause. So, hello, how's your day going? Did not mean to put that right there, but that exclamation point with the longer pause denotes two vertical lines. So earlier this month, it was my younger brother's birthday. He turned 17. Or earlier this month, it was my younger brother's birthday. He turned 17. So in between these two phrases, we've got a short pause, and then after this exclamation point, there's a long pause, and then he turned 17. And then pauses continued. So internal, they occur within intonational phrases. Furthermore, they can be open, which is when there's a pause between words within the intonational phrase, which is denoted with a plus sign, or closed, so there's no pause. So an example of an open internal juncture would be, this summer I'm going to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which actually is very true. I'm extremely excited. And then close. So when do you want to leave? I know that's kind of co-articulation, but there's no pause between want and to. So I kind of wanted to denote that with using wanna. So some quick questions before we wrap up. So what is a good way to remember how contrastive stress is defined? So a good mnemonic device that comes to mind is thinking of the word context, as a stress of different words in a sentence can provide different meanings or context. What is a good way to remember the difference between external and internal junctures? So internal is within or inside intonational phrases, whereas external is between intonational phrases. Now, what roles do rising or falling intonational phrases play? So typically, rising phrases will end in a question or provide new contextual information. Falling phrases complete sentences, commands, poses declarative statements, or answer WH questions. And then I have my citations page. I reference the textbook as well as lecture videos. But that being said, that wraps up my presentation. Hope you all enjoyed. Have a good rest of your school year. All right, bye-bye.